I did not get to choose who went on this shirt, but if I did, this man would have been one of the first people on there. He is a phenomenal chiropractor, phenomenal educator. He set the stage for my education, got me connected to some really great people while I was at Palmer, Florida, and I cannot wait to hear Dr. Mike Shreeve speak tonight.
We're going to start by listening to a song. Then I'll tell you about the song. Yours first. A lot of words.
Oh, are you ready?
Ready?
Okay.
Heard this guy in Africa.
Italy.
In Italy.
Same thing.
It's got letters in the alphabet in it, it's okay.
It's got an A in it.
They want to put me down. They won't. They won't. They won't. They won't. They want to extinguish my pride, but they won't. They won't. They won't. They won't. I'm not gonna let them rock what I have left. I'm not gonna let them rock what I have left. 'Cause I'm gonna stand right here. 'Cause I'm gonna rock right here. 'Cause I'm gonna stand right here. 'Cause I'm gonna rock right here. Right here. They want to damn my fire. They won't. They won't. They won't. They won't. They want to burn my life, but they won't. They won't. They won't. They won't. I'm not gonna let them rock what I have left. I'm not gonna let them rock what I have left. 'Cause I'm gonna stand right here. 'Cause I'm gonna rock right here. 'Cause I'm gonna stand right here. 'Cause I'm gonna rock right here. Right here.
So Ilo, my understanding is he was born and grew up off a little island off of South Africa. That's where the island came in. But I have heard him in Italy at brother-in-law's birthday party. He came and sang for us. This song, I was thinking about talking. Where are we? Who are we? What are we? What difference are we making in the universe? And we can think about starfish and, yes, the one I threw back, that one's better, but are we making great progress as a profession? In 1972 through 10% of America saw chiropractors. It's currently up to probably 17% according to some studies. Probably. I was bowling Thursday morning, and I'm not there all the time. It's a bunch of old people, so I fit right in, and they're forgiving. You don't have to bowl good, just come and have fun. The lady I'd not met before, her name was Debbie, so we ended up bowling together. We sat beside each other as we were waiting our turn. And she said, who are you? What do you do? I'm a chiropractor. I teach at Palmer. And she says, oh, I've never been to a chiropractor. I'm a nurse. I said, wow, that's good and bad. She said, okay. I said, well, it's good because you've not had something that occurred in your life that compels you to do something about it. And it's bad because you have no idea what we do. And unfortunately, a lot of people in my profession seem to not know what they do either. Kind of like in your, she said, oh my God, I have seen, and she started off on stories that would just make your skin crawl. And I was just listening to one human being that I, by purpose, was apparently there to have a short chat with. I don't expect her to go out and go see a chiropractor tomorrow. She's very confused about what it is that we do, and I don't know why. Maybe you do. Ilo says they want to put me down. And worldwide right now, we're in the face of the epitome of we can't get along, so you're not thinking what I think, so therefore you're wrong, and I'm going to misbehave, and I don't have to treat you with any decency. That's where we are. That's been going on historically, I think, 6,000 or 7,000 years. It hasn't stopped. 6,000 or 7,000 years. So in chiropractic, we had recently we had the attorney who ramrodded our will case passed. You know that? And I was thinking back. Here we had a chance to say, and we challenged, and we won in court. And then several years after we won the antitrust lawsuit, where you can't say anything bad about us, you got to quit that. Let's start treating people with decency. I mean, that's what it said to me. They came out with the AMA guides with a statement that again said chiropractors shouldn't be doing this. So it's good. So then they were slapped on the hand, and oh, we won't do it again, but we don't have to republish the book and take that out. We're in a world where people won't always do the right thing. But can we? Can we unify as a people, as the people who are probably best qualified to evaluate function? And so I've just borrowed from a whole lot of things, but Ilo, Dawn said I was trying to get a song, and she picked this one. She did a good job. I'm not going to let them rob me of what I've found. I will change left to found. They want to burn my light. They want to burn me up. I'm not going to let them do that. I'm going to stand right here. I'm going to continue doing what I do. And I'm going to continue doing that until I can't do it. Physically, mentally, emotionally, and somewhere, someday. Monday morning motivational, Bill Eastep. How many of you get that? 3 of us. Okay, it's free. Patientmedia.com. Bill Eastep's Monday morning motivational. Sign up for it.
Oh, yes.
This you get it. See,
Yeah.
you forgot. Okay. So my forgetter works overtime too. So
I get it Sunday.
you get, yes.
Right.
But he calls it Monday morning motivation.
Oh, okay.
Because he does it on Sunday. Yes.
Yeah.
So growth is one of the signs of life, yet we often prevent it from occurring. Physical growth. We scramble for the nearest parking lot, take the elevator instead of the stairs, and then later suffer for sarcopenia. We're not our bodies, but neglect to grow and strengthen them. Our life is lessened. How many of us do that? Do you look for the closest parking place? I did it pulling in here. It's a habit. I should have parked down the road a mile. Intellectual growth. Instead of reading a nonfiction book, we monitor social media, consume Hollywood gossip, watch cat videos and juvenile antics, strangers on YouTube. That's what our world has come to. So how is there supposed to be an intelligent thought? Emotional growth. Our relationship with risk and tolerance of fear prompt many of us to live small, uneventful lives. Many confuse survival with living, fearing rejection, judgment, or anything that tests our fragile self-image. When's the last time we did something out of our comfort zone? One of my non-comfort zones as a young man was public speaking. I'm not quite, you're not intimidating me. but it's taken 20 years of teaching at Palmer to get less intimidated by people like you. Just saying. Spiritual growth. Many confuse religion, man-made, and spirit, God-made. By kowtowing to political correctness, we avoid exposure to deep transformational insights. We're confused. That was just as spot on as it could get. I read them every Sunday or Monday morning, and I look at them and I think, what in the world? So then, I'm not exactly sure how I want to get where I want to go, but I walked in and somebody who I wouldn't even want to break bread with says, hey, do you want this copy of this book? And my answer is, well, hey, it's D.D. Palmer's 1910, sure, I'll take it, and if I don't want it, I'll give it to somebody else, because I've got, how many do you think I have there?
At least 4, maybe 5.
4, and then I've got 3 at work. So yeah, it's not like I don't have the book, but I opened the book, and when I first started at Palmer and I was interviewing, I was in the clinic and I was interviewing people to hire, I hired a guy by the name of Stephen Grand. That's Leonard Stephen Grand. He had this book in his library, and his widow put books and gave them away to, okay, because she wasn't going to do anything with them. Also a National grad. He graduated from National. And I know where he got the book, and I know when he got it because he left a receipt in the book. December the 10th, 1974, he paid $12.50 for this book. And then I thought, well, okay. He actually had some idea what chiropractic was, and so I start thumbing through, and I'm like, wait a minute, here's something highlighted. Chiropractors adjust causes instead of treating effects. He didn't have the opportunity to listen to Galen Price and Virgil Strang. He didn't have that, or B.J. Palmer, which I didn't have that. And then I like to go to the back of books for a number of reasons. About page 900, because how many of you have tried to read this book? Just sit down and have a long class. Isn't it easy reading? And if you want to see ego, I think D.D. Palmer and ego are the same word, and I don't think that's a bad thing. He was absolutely, in so many respects, far ahead of what he thought. And then I'm looking through here, and I'll get back here. I like the pictures, but that's not what I wanted. 970. Come on. It's got all these diseases. Oh, here we go. 969. I like that page. Now that's my highlighting numbers, because I figured Stephen already highlighted it. I can do my own highlighting in this book. Okay. Vertebra, ill-shaped. Displaced vertebrae racked from their normal positions become set in the new location. Their articulations are immovable. Okay. And they soon change their shape to conform to their new position. He didn't have X-ray to notice happened. He had to rely on autopsies. That's how he could learn that. There wasn't another way. He had to get spinal specimens, thus becoming ill-shaped. Before they can be permanently replaced, they must be reshaped, made suitable for growth by putting them back in their normal position. So would it be logical then that a medical radiologist in upstate New York, who William Hadley practiced his entire career in a small town, same hospital, and he saw people who came in and he evaluated them radiographically, he knew their histories, he knew the people in the community, and all of a sudden he's rocking along, and in about 1972 or 3 he publishes this book that says, you know what, if the people who had trauma like these people got chiropractic, because he had some of those cases too, then all of a sudden they wouldn't have the problems that we see developing. You know, the subluxation degeneration model charts that we have, those came straight out of Hadley's book. So, not that the world is a weird place, not that people have strange ideas. William Hadley passed away, and so his widow is left with the book. So the AMA bought the rights to the book from her and took it out of publication. I still have 2 copies. I had 3. I gave one to the library and they put it on a shelf and sold it for 50 cents. I wish I'd have known they were doing it. I'd have gone and bought it. Anatomical Röntgenographic Studies of the Spine, William Hadley. Sometimes you'll find it popping around somewhere. But that whole change that occurs, D.D. Palmer talks about, and I'll try to find where he talks about it. Physiologic functions become pathologic when functions are performed in a degree either too great or too little. Therefore, we use the term pathologic physiology, meaning abnormal functions. I started using, you have it. Yeah. See, the book exists.
Yeah. Joe, Felicia, Pettibon, and Harrison would talk about that a lot, so that's how I ended up with it.
I bought my copy at Palmer, read it when I was a student, and then I got to hear Felicia talk about it, and I'm like, yeah, but we all know that. I thought everybody knew that. Guess what? Everybody doesn't know that. And so it's not that we lived under rocks. That's not what's urgent or imminent in our life at that time. This term, pathologic physiology, I use a different term, trying to say the same thing, and I didn't know where it came. I just said pathophysiology. That just came out of my mouth one day. I don't know that I ever read it somewhere. But then I read this week. I'm like, oh, look, he said the same thing. I got lucky. Then here's the other yellow, that's the old stuff we had. Like the representatives of all schools of the healing art, the osteopath recognizes the strength of the evidence in favor of germs being the cause of many diseases. There's no hyphen in that diseases word. Herein is our difference. Therein is one of the great differences between osteopathy and chiropractic. The allopaths and the osteopaths, and he held them separately, hold that germs are the exciting cause of many diseases, whereas chiropractors do not believe that germs are the cause of any disease. Here he did not hyphenate it either. He left it as a pathological change. Will the body make a pathological change in a tissue if it's subjected to something that it's not handling well? So we know that. Do we tell our patients that? Do we talk to them? So Dr. Sherry will be here next month. I'm happy that he's going to be here. I stopped to talk to him the other day, and he was having, how much I can actually tell you. His body was reacting less than normally to environmental stressors. I can say that. And he said, I didn't have that much this problem like this when this particular student was here and was taking care of me, but they've now graduated. And I said, well, let me give you somebody's name. He says, well, I'm thinking about waiting until this other person. And I said, you look smart. Let me give you another name. Well, I can get away with that because he and I are friends. And so he accepted the name, and we'll see what he does with it. And it's interesting. He went on to share with me what he really liked about his last student intern was they talked to him like a human being and said, hey, this is what we found, this is what I'm doing, this is why. They didn't treat me like I'm just automatically supposed to know everything. I wonder how good we are at that, at communicating what we do. Truly communicating what we do. Are we great at it? Do we give that same level of attention and care to deaf mute? They can't hear us, they can't see us. If you're blind, deaf, and mute, they can't hear, they can't see. How do we communicate with them? I don't have an answer for that. It's certainly going to be nonverbal, and we can't draw a picture. So what are we going to do? A reassuring pat when something's gone well? I don't know. I've never had that challenge. I've had deaf, I've had blind, but I haven't had both together. Maybe there's a reason. The osteopath and allopath use antidotes for poisons. The chiropractor adjusts certain vertebrae for certain poisons, be they slow or active. Fast or slow, he doesn't care. He's still going to do the same thing. chiropractor does not use drugs, neither does he stimulate organs to reduce fever. One of the things that I hear a fair amount, oh, well, you have to be careful about combining sympathetic and parasympathetic at the same time, because that person will get worse. And well, where'd you get that? Where's the subluxation? Can you just do that? Oh, well, but it's overstimulating. Well, I'm stimulating them. One of our people said, I'm adjusting T5 to stimulate the immune system. Cool. Can you, Shmeal, can you draw me the neurological connection, how that works? Well, no, but everybody knows it works. Okay, good. I don't know what to say. And that's where we live. The osteopath uses natural fluids and forces of the body as healing agents. The chiropractor removes pressure from nerves so that functions may be performed in a natural manner. This is my national grad guy. So I was thinking about this, and I'm thinking about him. Who do we know that graduated from national and became a metapractor, recently passed a few years ago? Zigafus. If Zigafus could go to a school and get it, he didn't even get the book. This guy got the book, which I found interesting. I enjoyed, for me, and I've been through this book enough times that I'm halfway familiar, but D.D. Palmer says I was the first to use nerve tracing. Our Merrick system didn't come from BJ, although he drew it out, and candidly came from this guy. He says, I'm gonna go to Oregon and find where the nerve comes from, and then I know where in the spine is not working. I thought that's just brilliant. The first to write upon innate. I clenched my teeth because I know that I've seen other historical documents that the writer talks about the innate intelligence, but T.D.'s the first that wrote about it in a way that it was coordinating function. There's the difference. So we've got that rich history. The first to define chiropractic. And this one stopped me for a while. Vicki, would you help me? Define chiropractic. Oh my. Anita, you wanna do it?
Sure.
Go.
Science, art, and philosophy of spinal, detecting and correcting subluxations.
That's it. It's not any harder than that. How we get to there and how we do it. But chiropractic doesn't say you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. It says you need to do this, and therein is the thing that we seem to not be congruent in as a profession. Is that a fair statement to most of you?
Amen.
The congruency is not there. So when I'm talking to Nurse Debbie, how's Nurse Debbie gonna get any clear picture? So earlier we were looking at a letter from your patient that you shared. And it's a beautiful letter. It says, hey, I went to my local chiropractor, and I'm paraphrasing. I went to my local chiropractor who said, no, can't help you, you need spinal surgery. And so they decided to come see somebody who operated from a different perspective, and they came down, and I'm gonna kind of guess you probably adjusted it. That's just my wild guess.
Yeah.
Fair? And he writes, oh wow, it was worth driving 1,000 miles in my shiny red Corvette to come see you so those are the people. I was talking with one of we graduated about 4 or 5 years ago. Talking with Chris, and he said he's really struggling because this person would benefit from what he does, but they would have to travel 40 minutes to get to his office, and he just thinks that's a lot. And I told my wife, and she said, well, it takes 40 minutes to drive from where we used to live to downtown Tampa on a good day. So, and we lived in Tampa. So, how's 40 minutes a long way? How is somebody getting on an airplane and flying from San Diego, California to come to Port Orange, Florida to get adjusted? How is that so radical? And then I got lucky and found him a chiropractor back home. And he says, oh yeah, we do that. And life was good, but they hadn't found him. They hadn't found it. The first to write upon chiropractic. A lot got written about chiropractic, but he's the first one that really wrote down his thoughts and ideas. He was the first to give a chiropractic adjustment. Okay, we know that, that's history. And so then let's have all the, where did he say he adjusted? Where did he really adjust? Did the lies all start then? Was he so fearful that, and so even our historical records aren't what they should be because there was fear, false expectation appearing real that occurred. He was the first to teach the science of chiropractic. He even taught his own son. Anybody remember which number BJ was in the hierarchy of graduates? Anybody know that?
21.
He was 17th
Oh.
to receive it. That's close though. 17th to receive a Doctor of Chiropractic degree or his diploma from his dad's school, which probably took about 6 weeks or 6 hours. I don't know. It wasn't long.
Those were the days.
To state that action is listen to this, D.D. Palmer says, I'm the first to state that action is intelligent life. Intelligent life. I had one of those great commutes to school. I only live 10 minutes away if the traffic lights work and the people are not out clogging up the streets. And I had one morning where it's like, no matter what, there's 3 lanes. So I would get the right lane or the middle lane. I'll take either one, but the car in front of me wants to have them both. I'm like, okay. And then just as they got to the entrance, the on-ramp to the interstate, they went right lane, left lane, and then all the way back to the right lane. I'm like, oh my, they just don't know where they are. Is that intelligent life? Or is that an intelligent way to live? See, we've got what intelligence we're talking about has nothing to do with the way people think or the way they act, although I think it should. We should be driven by something different. To state that 95% of diseases are caused by displaced vertebra, the remainder by luxations of other joints. D.D. Palmer. 95% of diseases, he didn't hyphenate it. He said 95% of anything that's not right with you is because something is not right that's interfering with the coordination of your nervous system, and the other 5% because it's your knee or your ankle or your wrist. And yet we spend in chiropractic school 6 months learning extremities and 3 months working on spinal anatomy. That makes so much sense if you're going to be a podiatrist. You know, they used to call them chiropodists. I'm not bashing the education, I'm just saying it. How do we weigh in with how much we do of that? It doesn't make sense to me. Where is this chiropractic education that some of us got? Because you got it, you got it, you got it, you got it. I know you got it. You got it in spite of us, not because of us, but that's another story, right? And sometimes that's exactly what we do. We get things in spite of, not because of. If you're not getting what you want, open the book. One of my third try students, he's just finishing up. He'll take his final exam Wednesday. Absolutely stellar human being. When he comes to class, he's already read all the notes, everything that's out. He's looked at every video that I've posted for him. He's prepared, and he comes in and he has questions. Hey, I understood that this, and I went onto their website and I saw this, and this is what, and he's like, wow, okay, cool. When he didn't understand something, he would come and say, I'm sorry, I'm a little confused, would you please help me? And yet, the predominance of our, not just in chiropractic schools, but our students in every place, they're used to this thing called mastery education. You all know what that is? That's where you get to take the same test over and over until you pass it, the exact same test. That's what we get to teach. People who they take the same test, if it takes 10 times, the same exact test 10 times until they make a passing grade. And those are coming in, and then we couple that with, let's have COVID. Well, we have to lower the standard because nobody would have passed it during COVID because, well, not us, but, not me, but, I mean, think about that. And those are the young people that are coming up, gonna run our world. But, at least here, I know the fact that experience was in your life won't matter because you're here. Right?
And you're getting adjusted. Better here.
I'm a student and I'm looking at them and their eyes aren't tracking and I ask one day, do you have your spine checked last? Well, I haven't been to the clinic. Okay, let me rephrase the question. When was the last time you were checked and adjusted if you need to be adjusted? But I just told you I haven't been to the clinic. Okay, you haven't been to the clinic in how long? Ever. Okay, so do you have somebody that you see outside of? Well, no, because I'm a student and I need to go to the clinic. Okay. So you just told me you need to do something and you're not doing it. Well, when I get time, I'm gonna do that. Okay. So that's fine. So I take attendance not in my teaching, not for the purpose now of are you here or not, there's a piece of that, but to get to know people's names. So I get to know who's there. And this individual missed 2 weeks of class, that's just 2 weeks consecutive. So how can they become a chiropractor? How can they learn to do what they need to do? I'll watch videos. Cool. I would like that. I'd watch the videos, but I still want somebody to yell at me. Schmiedel. Chiropractic is a science just so far as it is specific. Okay. Doc, would you do me a huge favor?
What's that?
Define specific for me.
At the right place, in the right direction, at the right time.
Thank you.
Nice.
Can you say that again? That was beautiful.
At the right place, in the right direction, at the right time.
And is that what occurs in the majority of yeah, maybe if you're lucky, right? Yes.
Sorry, just have a quick question.
Yeah.
So what's the difference of specific compared to concise?
That's a good question. Specific is a calculated direction to put in force and place to put in force. I don't know that concise in your words would be that much different.
And time, at the right time.
And at the right time. So the right area, the right direction at the right time. Concise would need to include all of those components to be what we would call specific, what you and I would agree. So specific might be a little bit more, just a little more picky in all ways, because one of the clinicians was sharing with me that they had a particular student who was graduating from Illinois. He said he was so wonderful to work with because when the patient didn't need to be adjusted, he wouldn't adjust them, which means he didn't get a clinic credit for it. So he took the time, saw them, did all the paperwork, and didn't adjust them because they didn't need it. Because he knew where, he knew a direction, but he knew it was not the right time. So he didn't deliver. So he was concise in his evaluation and not specific in our terms because he didn't do something at that time, or maybe he was specific because he didn't. Maybe that's the better answer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not that much different, but there's just a little difference. Disease is either a lessening or an exaggeration of one of my favorite D.D. Palmer words, functionating. I like that, functionating. Josh, do you know what functionating is?
I don't think I do.
Can you say working?
Working.
Appropriately, at the right time,
At the right time.
in the environment.
In the environment.
So it's all of those things. That's what functionating is. So we could have normal functioning, or we could have abnormal, or pathophysiological functioning. We could have either one. Functionating.
Homeostasis.
Say again?
Homeostasis.
Homeostasis, but that's one of my favorite words, homeostasis. Homeostasis or homeodynamic?
Dynamic.
See, stasis to me communicates it's static. It is what it is. Dynamic means it is what it is for the moment, and with the right afferent communication to the brain will light up and say, I know what you need to do next. Come on, work, do more functionating or less functionating.
More.
And it's more or less, it's whichever is appropriate for the moment. So we're back to our time again. Time seems to be a big deal. To study functions without innate, the controller is like, innate as the controller, is like studying creation without a creator. I've read this book, I don't know, probably 50 times, probably. I never saw that. This is new in this book. Brand new. Published in, well, written in 1910. But this one is hard, and my loving wife reminded me not to want to think something and step on somebody else for what they do in their wagon. And that was good, thank you. Chiropractic is founded upon different principles than those of medicine. Yeah, it was a good job. Chiropractic is founded on different principles than those of medicine. I didn't say medicine was bad. So we don't do that. We don't work, we don't think that way, we don't act that way, we don't live that way, we don't breathe that way, we don't intervene with patients in that way, because we're going to go back to being specific in is there, where is it, how do we deal with it, is it the appropriate time? Is it time to put up, or is it time to shut up? Is it time to do something or leave them alone? Are they in the process of healing anyway? Can I rat you out?
Sure.
Okay. I learned some new phraseology. What was that chain thing?
Wrapped around the chain.
Wrapped around the chain. I never heard wrapped around the chain. I don't know what that was. Apparently that's when you get all tense about something, right? Is that it? So, I know beyond any reasonable doubt that there are people in this room that don't think a thing in the world about driving an hour to get checked and be happy if they don't have to be adjusted. I'm one of those. I don't think a thing. It's really convenient for me because Dr. Bethany is there practicing in the office where I practice, and so it's easy for me to get checked. So I just don't even wait till it's once a week or once a month. I just, every time I see her, you want to be checked? Would you mind checking me? And I'm just ecstatic when I don't have to be adjusted. It's like, yeah, cool. And then when I do need to be adjusted, I went, okay, I know I did that to myself. I got irritated with the second person who got in 2 lanes on the same day and wouldn't move over and tries to crash me out. They're not trying to crash me out. They're just oblivious. The osteopath accepts all of allopathy except that of drugs. That was historically, in 1910 when he wrote this. Of late, many are accepting the science of pharmacology. Chiropractic ascends to nothing that is allopathic. We're separate. We don't do that. We have people in our profession who say, oh, but if we just had a few little muscle relaxers to help them. So in my mind, I translate that. I think about that a little bit differently. If we could just add that to our practice, our license, that means we could also pay each of us probably 10 times what we currently pay a malpractice fees. Maybe 15, but 10 pretty conservative. That's the difference in what we pay in a neurologist case. So there's something different that might be a little safer in what we do. Did you think about that? This might be safer? So we've all said over and over, or many of us have anyway, chiropractic first, drugs second, surgery last. I mean, if all else fails, cut out the body part that you don't like, pick one. And I don't mean that in an ugly way, but I don't know what else to say. People In all conditions, make the adjustment. Move the vertebra with as little force and as few movements as possible. This is D.D. Palmer. Remember that every move creates some inflammation. The quicker the move, the less force is required. I can't locate the text that D.D. Palmer must have read that said what Guyton says, Guyton Hall says, that the inflammatory process is the first step in healing. I can't find a 1900s text that says that. So how did he know that? I don't know. Figure that out for me. I don't know. And share it with me, because I don't know that. But somehow this rock star, he probably got it somewhere, and he figured out, you know what, we need to do as responsibly as possible, not traumatize the patient when we make a specific adjustment to correct the vertebral misalignment that is producing nerve interference, that's interfering with coordinated function, when it's necessary to do that at that time. We need to do, it's just.
Did you say that the inflammatory process is the first step of healing?
First step in healing, that's what Guyton Hall says.
Oh.
When the body has something happen, it starts an inflammatory process to try to render that, to fix it. So think about a joint. Yes. So we think about a joint, and if a joint becomes abnormally loaded, misalignment, the body's gonna say, throw some fluid in there, let's bring some more stuff to help it heal, because the body's trying to use that fluid, and the tone directs the capillary dilation or constriction. So vasodilation, vasoconstriction, the absolute control of the nervous system. That one's not even coordinated, that one is controlled. Because all systems are controlled or coordinated by the intelligence of the body. There's none other. We call that innate intelligence or inborn intelligence. But here's a guy that figured out his inflammatory response was there in his day, so he knew that. Now I know he was checking heat with hands because of his magnetism he touched. Maybe that's how. Maybe he just fabricated it in his mind. Maybe Guyton said, oh, I like what D.D. Palmer wrote, I'm gonna take that and use it. I don't know. I don't know. I wish I did know. I'm reading along and he comes to this statement. Science is a collection of demonstrated facts. Is science good?
Yes.
Is science bad?
Yeah.
I can think of examples of how scientific information is used, good and bad, but science in and of itself isn't good or bad, it's just information. And so D.D. Palmer, I couldn't find in here where it said it, but I got a picture of it, it's on my wall in my office, so I'll find it over here for you. D.D. Palmer wrote this. It's in here somewhere. There are two classes of chiropractors. Those who desire to know all they can, physiology, pathology, neurology, and anatomy, and those who have an aversion to intelligence, do not want to take effect into consideration, depending only on examination of the spinous processes. D.D. Palmer. That's pretty much in your grill. If we're not doing a thorough evaluation to determine is there a subluxation there, not does it hurt here, not how do you feel, but when I'm king, I'm gonna get rid of all these oswestry stuff. How do you feel? You have VAS of 7. Oh, now how do you feel? I just throttled you. Your body made chemicals in the brain, made you feel good. Yeah, you feel better for a minute. Did we correct the problem? You might feel worse while you get rid of the poisons. I don't care. I mean, I feel sorry for you, but too bad. That's the way the body works. What was in this one here? Let me turn back over here. This one is on my desk. It won't turn the way I want, so I'll turn it this way. It's a little postcard, little things that B.J. Palmer used to put in people's mailboxes. We had mailboxes in Palmer when I was there. Did they get rid of those when you were there?
No, we had 'em. They actually moved them from down underneath the memorial building.
Right?
They moved them to the new administration building across the street.
Oh.
But we had them in both places. There's
Uh,
still mailboxes.
So our mailbox was down there and we dialed it open, and if you were lucky, you were on the GI bill, you got your GI check so you could run upstairs and give it to the school. No student loans though. I have been in business some years. I started at the bottom. This is BJ. I'm rapidly climbing. I'm above many, below some others. I have been cussed, discussed, boycotted, talked about, lied against, damned, browbeaten, tried for murder, whipsawed, stood up and knocked down. The only reason I'm in business now is to see what the hell is gonna happen next. Yeah. That's, so there are days when I go into my den in the morning and I get a cup of, I do whatever I'm gonna do to show up, and I get to my computer and I check my email and I see if Billy Stiff sent me anything, or if some student has a thumb sucking attack or whatever's going on in the world, I'm gonna look at it. And did they quit fighting yet? No, they didn't. I already know the answer to that, so I've quit looking now. I'm done. So it gets down to, I'll sometimes just look at that and go, and when I do it, it just roll. It's easy. That's one of my favorite things. I'm sure anybody who's heard me talk very much about chiropractic and history and where we've been, this difference in how people approach this thing that we know chiropractic is not helping us. It's not. And it wasn't helping us when BJ Palmer passed either. Shortly before he passed, he was in Sarasota, and there were 6 chiropractors there. I got to interview some of them. He said this: "You are chiropractors, most of them are not. You must carry the banner for chiropractic to survive." That was done in calligraphy by my orthopedic surgeon's neighbor's wife for me, and it hung on my wall, and she wanted to know what that meant. I said, well, it means not everybody behaves nice. Not everybody follows the rules that they know that they should, or that they don't know that they should. And that's part of our problem, is that they don't know what they don't know because they don't bother reading, and they're going to take that easier road. Easier road. We were talking earlier about some of our friends who, I don't know this person, so I'm talking about it anyway, who has different departments within his clinic, a rehab department and another department and another, like, are they adjusting at all? I mean, and I guess this thing that this whole chiropractic problem is, it's very, very simple. And we as humans want to complicate it. It's very, very simple. BJ wrote a little paperback book, if you can find a copy of it. It's blue on the outside with white lettering. It's as simple as that. Mindy, have you read that? Mm-hmm. Does it get any plainer than that? Mm-hmm. It's the, hello, why are we making something harder than it has to be? I know beyond any reasonable doubt that I can walk into Dr. Mindy's office and I know what she's going to be doing. Find a subluxation, kick its butt. If it's there, it's gone. Give him another appointment to come back and check him and see if it got better. Is you doing anything else I don't know about?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah. And
See you later.
And you know, you're done. It's really, really that simple. D.D. Palmer, there's 2 more things that I want, 3 more things anyway. He got a little irritated. He says, Dr. Blank, chiropractor and masseur. Chiropractic removes the cause of disease. If so, why are they using massage? I thought that was interesting. And his problem is exactly stated in his statement above. And that one I put a big star by it. See that? That was important to me. He says, don't try to get well by 2 systems at once. It's It is unfair to both systems and to yourself. So which systems is he talking about? Chiropractic and rehab, chiropractic and PT, chiropractic and nutraceuticals, I mean, really, which are the systems he's talking about? Chiropractic and medicine? One of the chiropractors that I know that is working the system in a different way. He hired a DPT so that he could get paid for x-rays. He has the patient see the DPT first, get around. And then we have people who, well, but I'm doing this because this is the best thing for the patient. And I won't step on toes by, I hope. We have to be very careful that when we do something in our business practice that it doesn't break laws. Okay. And there are two kinds of laws. There are two kinds of laws. There are the ones that we have in the state of Florida, and those count lower on the totem pole to me. But the basic one, they still count, but they count lower because the law that we need to be working with is the law that the body's a self-healing organism, that if we treat it properly, it has the best chance of returning to normal functioning. If we can do that with that level of respect. Is that easy to do? And Janae, I'm gonna call you, it actually is. But here's the controlling factor. Let me just show you where it is. It's an anatomical, it's right here. It's when that decision is made. This is what I do. This is what I don't do. I asked a friend who's a chiropractor if they would do a flight physical for me. Because all they have to do is attest that I'm living and walking and they said, that's not within what I do as a chiropractor. I thought, wow. At first I didn't like the answer, but after I've ruminated on it, I like the answer. My time is better spent helping people have an opportunity to live free of subluxation than it is filling out a paper for you so you can go play in your aluminum can in the sky. Sometimes we hear things, sometimes I hear things, I don't know. Sometimes I hear things and all of a sudden I'm like, I don't necessarily like it, but after I've had a chance to think about it, it's perhaps profound, and maybe I should have listened to that. D.D. Palmer says he did his best. When I am dead, if men can say, I helped the world upon its way. With all my faults of word and deed, mankind did have some little need. For what I've done, then in my grave, no greater honor shall I crave. If they can say, if they but can, he did his best, he played the man. He was all, his ways were straight, his soul was clean, his failings not unkind or mean. He loved his fellow man and tried to help him, I'll be satisfied. But when I'm gone, if only one will weep because my life is gone, and feel the world is somewhat bare because I am no longer there, call me a knave, my life misspent, no matter, I shall be content. Did you even know that was in here? I didn't either. It was a poem, I just went right by it. But it's more significant in for me right now because I'm looking at it. I may not live eternally on this earth. I could be gone one day. Will people look back and think, I'm glad he was here at least for 1 minute, just for 1 hour, for one day, for one person.
Enough.
So that's the other sign that hangs in my office. DJ wrote it, enough said. That's what I brought. That's it.
That's enough.
It's the hard thing. to find balance in life. That's hard enough. The other hard thing is to find love when you don't feel it. You never had this, Mike, but I have. There are some times when you get so frustrated with what's going on, you're like, brrr. And so you can't reach out, you can't encourage, you just don't care anymore. It's just, and then you become an empty shell, at least for the moment. And so to get to that quiet place, to get our Monday morning motivational, to get us recentered, to stop judging and start loving, hard if you're a hard person, and I'm a hard guy. So I encourage you all to get that quiet time to get recentered. Vicki, you do 49 breaths every day? Why? You know you should.
Yeah.
You do positive affirmations every day? Good. Take another few seconds and give yourself a chance. You know what 49 breaths are? You know what 49 breaths are? What book can we give him to read? 49 breaths. Where can you read that?
Probably Meadowlands probably has it.
Meadowlands has it. Meadowlands is a book written by
Dr. Sidney Williams.
late Dr. Sidney Williams, who the first time I heard the man's mouth open the door and looked in the door, and there's this big sign up on the wall that says nothing is bigger than life, and he's talking in his southern drawl. He was a great leader, and he says, some of y'all don't like money, listen to the money hum. I'm like, heck, money hum, what is he talking about? Some people have, they don't want, they think money's not a good thing. Money's okay. Money's not a good thing or a bad thing, it's just money. And you gotta get over, it's okay. Money's all right, it's not a bad thing. It's okay. I'm gonna shut up. When we were talking about James W. Parker, before I met Parker, I met a guy by the name of Graham Rockley. And Graham Rockley had some rules about how you operate a business. You always dress better than your best dressed patient. Okay? You always be there when you say you'll be there. That's good. And then he had a operational business guideline that says, unlock the door, let them in. Care for them, allow them to pay, and give them another appointment. How hard
Sounds a
is
lot
that?
like John Botwell.
John Boutwell was just a little bit younger than Graham Rockley. The two of them I had on the same platform at one time. Boutwell came down to talk at Graham Rockley and it was, we were in Clearwater, it was phenomenal. It's like Ziggafus when he finally settled into a talk. You know, the first sputtering, and then you're like, okay. Or Tommy, you're like, okay, you gonna be all right? You having a seizure, buddy? You okay? And then boom. And those guys we had that opportunity. You don't have those people anymore. Those people left us. You're stuck with us. This is all you got. Okay? Get this book and read it. I never knew that it was going to come from a guy that I hired, a national grad, to work in the Palmer Clinic. Something I didn't think I would do. Of course, I had 5 Palmer people and 2 national. I'm like, see how this works out. I didn't think they'd last long. But they understood.
But then you left the clinic and you were on the other side.
Yeah. I left them over there. Yeah, that's another story. But these things will change, and I think that we should be encouraged that we have such a treasure, and I think we should be diligent in trying to find the way within our own sphere of influence to help people see that this chiropractic thing is not headaches and creaks and strains and pains. It's not it. It's about how the body functionates, how it operates in a coordinated fashion. We're not good at that. You know, I got a 3-minute elevator talk. Who's got a 3-minute elevator talk? Anybody? Got one for me, Doc?
I've done a 3-minute.
Don't have a 3-minute, you got a 90-second? 30-second?
I'm a chiropractor. What's chiropractic? I would say chiropractic works with the spine to remove interference in the nervous system so your brain can communicate with the rest of the body so you function and feel better.
Why should I come see you?
I've been doing this for over 25 years, real specific in what I do. Help thousands of people.
Are you concise?
I'm not only specific, but I'm concise. And we all have to develop, what is this thing that we're doing and how do we communicate? Look, chiropractic, the research right now says, the most current research over the last 10 years would say that we're probably better at brain health than we are at spinal health. Probably better at brain health than spinal health. What? Yeah. But we now have the tools to measure it we never had before, which is really cool. Have you seen pre and post CSF flow after just one adjustment? You haven't seen that? YouTube, chiropractic CSF flow. There's a pre and post, you can watch it, it'll just floor you. It just floor you. Look at that. The brain can't be healthy if it doesn't have CSF flow. And then there's venous drainage, and this just goes on.
And then when you're done with that, then you can watch your funny cat videos.
I'm thinking funny camping videos for you, my friend.
Let's go through it, okay.
Maybe funny camping cooking videos. Yeah. And you add apple peppers to everything. There we go. So,
Oh, those are good.
anybody have any questions that you want to ask me? Because we're going to wrap it up. Hope it was worth your drive to get here, Josh.
Definitely was.
If it wasn't, send me a letter.
Gas bill?
Just a letter. Choose D or C. Either one of those letters will work.
All right, thank you. All right, Dr. Michael Shreeve. Next month, it's only 3 weeks away, November 4th, we have Bill Shearer coming. He's now the president of Palmer College of Chiropractic in Port Orange, and I met him many years ago at Mindy and Danita's offices at Saturday Night Live, and I had a chance to visit and speak with him for a little while a few weeks ago, and I really am happy with the direction Palmer, Florida is going, and it's a great opportunity for us all to listen to what he has to say, see the direction Palmer, Florida is going, and show him how supportive we are of him, okay? So I hope to see you guys November 4th, live from St. Augustine. It'll be Saturday night.
Yeah.